Hey, what's going on, guys? This is pilleater. I'm trying to do these videos like 3 days a week, like Ramsey Paul style. Just see what I can get from it, whatever. And so, I thought instead of doing about news, I thought I would talk a little bit by myself and about why are you even doing this? Some people are on the internet, they're like, well, look at this severe autistic freak. Why the hell is he doing this? Why can't he just shut the fuck up and like go to church every week and just like be a normie and just like keep this quiet, be a normal white nationalist, they might say. I think that might be a contradiction, but, why do any of this? Why are you doing any of this? So, I thought I would share my little history of how I became, I guess, yellow-pilled. That is my own definition of what you would call becoming an Asian Aryan, for lack of a better term, Any, most likely, anyone of white persuasion, or I would think I would call someone who's Asian, would they be considered white-pilled? If it's the optimism on the white side, realizing that America's great. I don't know, I have to make up something to that, but I'm referring to any, like, white liberal or, any, American who becomes yellow-pilled, they find themselves an Asian wife, and they just go throughout it, or even a girlfriend, so I think there's a yellow-pilled process. And it's happening, but like nobody wants to talk about it. So I guess for my own history, I guess it really all started in like elementary school. If you go all the way back, I mean, pretty much being around other Asians, you kind of get this ideal that it's like, you're told at the same time you belong in group as white, but also out group as being you're special because you're Japanese, right? And that kind of went through, but I didn't really care about it. And you have I was a pretty wild kid back then. I mean, I was kind of like the kid that would just like rough house, typical, I was in the wrestling team in middle school, so whatever. I mean, I think it was in middle school that there was this kind of scene, between, Christian Lander calls the wrong kind of white people and the right kind of white people, where, the wrong kind of white people are basically just whites that like Fox News, working class, they vote Donald Trump. They're just incompatible with the right kind of white people, which are basically liberals, enlightened. This is how, they know their whole European English studies history, and they're basically Christian pussies who, those are the right kind. And so they purge the wrong kind, and the wrong kind takes up the sports thing. And so I guess I was, there's the jocks, and they're basically all the wrong kind of white people. And so the right kind of white people, however, they were in band. And if you know anything about band, tons of Asians are in band class. And I remember just seeing like 4 of my friends having like Chinese girlfriends, like at the age of 15, 16. Like you call it puppy love and you call it a phase, but this was an interesting part of someone's life, especially that if you're like in that scene, it becomes almost like life itself, a destiny thing. And so I guess like at the age of 15, you have this kind of emotional thing, this emo streak, right? That was really big years ago, emo stuff, emo and crunk. But after that, I went to different private schools. I went to this one private school that was basically guys separated from the girls, and like some weird high school anime, all the guys wear uniforms and all the girls wear uniforms, and you were like separated from that. I guess that, I don't mean to say that there's homosexual tendencies to that, especially in wrestling, but I mean to say that there is certainly a more division there when you understand that, guys need to be with guys, girls need to be with girls. But I think I wrote this about in my book, but I don't mean to be Freudian, but there were pretty nice Asian girls in like my late teen years, a few years ago, about, they were just nice, and I didn't really pick up on it. I'm just like, well, you're nice, and but I think the point is this: when I first got into college, a few years ago, I think it really all started when I was pretty much an Asian studies major, and I had myself immediately a Chinese girlfriend. And I didn't question it at first, but I was trying to retain this sweatable urbanite hipster, I make electronic music and punk zine thing, and it didn't fit in because I realized how beneficial Asian studies was to your health of mind. Now keep in mind too, I was a pretty wild kid when I was teen years. I mean, I was reading Countercurrent since I was 17, and so I kind of knew about the whole white nationalist stuff, and I kind of was flirting it in the same way as I read Feral House, Adam Parfrey, Boyd Rice, Jim Goad, all those names, right? I'm one of those people. I like that weird queer avant-garde stuff, but I knew about that stuff, but I kind of was flirting it, but I kept it secret, and I guess with the whole campus and the whole trigger warning thing, I remember reading in a class about Tokyo Lit. I was talking about Yukio Mishima, and this one like Kappa Japanese girl was all like, "Well, I can't try to remember what she said. She was all like, I think anybody would be accepted in the country," because I said Mishima was defensive. He didn't want whites in the country. The professor had to talk to me after class about it. I mean, I guess this is a happenstance issue, but I mean, this is the first key in logic. Wait, this sounds very Asian Aryan. I mean, are you for the ideals of whites and Asians going together, or is it this multiracial let black people in the country? And silly stuff like that, being very confrontational to professors and all that fun stuff. You just have to question this, and it pretty much. I mean, it was only last semester when I graduated that did I realize my friends were pretty much two white guys with two Asian girls, and just having this little non-existent kind of post-Asian studies group. And I didn't want to tell my friends about it, but I was like, you know what? I think I really ate the yellow pill, just pretty much hanging with girls, really. I mean, I don't mean to sound like Rouge V or anything. It's just a natural flow of events when you realize that your destiny is with somebody. And if you really had a destiny, you would have to, protect that. Now I get it that most, like white nationalists say, oh, it's a phase. He'll grow out of it or something like that. Chances are it's already happening. People haven't grown out of it. They haven't been red-pilled. And I think what I talk about online all the time is new cuckery, right? You have one level of being a cuck, being a race trader, but you have another level of being a new cuck, which is basically having your like Asian white kids and then saying that they don't belong to any race or that there's some kind of race denying white person. And it doesn't get done anything because the kids just become mentally retarded. And, I think that's really bad. I think there needs to be a household philosophical establishment, some tenet about being white and Asian at the same time, and having an Asian Aryan outlook in life, and basically playing in group and out group. And I mean, I'm also for big entryism too. And I get where Happas can be like very like queer and avant-garde, like I just said. Like why are you reading Countercurrents? It's because, there definitely is that culture catered to it. I understand that there's this kookiness, but also that's just another level of Asian Aryanism. I totally believe there can be a clean Asian Aryanism where, it's foundational, it's conservative, it's good. And like I said, if whites want this weird white ethno-state, give the Asian Aryans an ethno-state, give them out in the size of Delaware, That would be the perfect Asian Aryan ethno-state, I would imagine. I mean, what more can I say about getting yellow-pilled? I think people are getting yellow-pilled all the time. They're like on the second step before the third step getting yellow-pilled. All these kids on 4chan, like masturbating to anime, all these kids, look up porn. The most searched porn ratio is not black cocks on white girls, but Japanese girls. I mean, that's what like the porn industry knows on the internet. Lonely white guys live by themselves and masturbate to like Asians. They know that. And that develops a weird sexual cue. we just go to a nerd convention. I mean, it's just white people who've been denied their white racial consciousness, and they think they're some anime character. It's crazy, and so they just have to be yellow pilled on it and realize that that's their new destiny. And I think from there, that's when they could start doing a foundation of Asianarianism. But first, what has to go is this really pathetic liberalism that upholds this. I mean, not to bash civic nationalism, but people like roaming millennial. I think she's a doll. I mean, I fell in love with roaming millennial the first time I saw her, but it's just this idea. Why does it matter if I'm white and Asian? Well, it's probably going to matter to your kids and your grandson and who you associate with. And I do believe in passive Asianarianism, where she is an Asianarian, but she's just going to do her own thing, and it's just going to be the Sweppel thing, right? You call white people out for wearing plaid shirts, acoustic covers of rap songs, organic food. Well, white people always do this, and they all hang out at Trader Joe's. You just got to point the elephant in the room. And so when you point out a truth, that it becomes real. So I think my yellow-pilled process is pretty much made me who I am today, and I feel like it's necessary to go out and reach out to other kids who are also yellow-pilled. So, yeah. Hail the rising sun.